listening to where you want to start and end and writing the suggestions and giving yourself direction. The one thing you don't want to do is just, kind of be like, I don't know where I want to go. You want to have direction, or you don't want to be like, and then run out of time and be like, well, I ran out of time, so I'm going to end where I end. No, you want to practice knowing how much time you have, and then you want to practice also knowing where to start and where to end. But to be honest, in order to duet with something that's pre-recorded, right, you got to know exactly what's happened. If you're live, you get to look at each other and kind of signal each other when you're coming in, coming out, or if you want to overlap. All right, welcome back to another episode of StichMethod. Today, we're going to be talking about John Mayer's TikTok duet challenge that's kind of been going around the web. If you haven't seen it, the YouTube video of it will be linked below. John does a jam in F and asks you to kind of play back and forth with him. So we're going to learn how to F with John Mayer. And so before we begin, make sure you share and subscribe. It's going to be a pretty cool lesson. I think there's going to be a lot that goes into it. We can really zoom in as far as you want to, but there is a free chart that goes with this, and that will be linked below as well in the description. But the chart, when you look at it, it's going to be like, what the heck is this? So I'll talk about what that chart is in a little bit, but let's get down to what John Mayer is doing and why it works, so we can make our chops better, and also understanding where our windows are for our duet solos. All right. So when you listen to the video, it says it's in F, and you can hear him playing this kind of F-type backing track. I made a very similar type backing track. It consists of an F chord and some F arpeggios and pentatonic noodling. Give a listen. This is what we're going to be playing over. So you can see very, very similar to what John has going. It's an F chord. Now, he says it's an F, and so if you have that chart in front of you, we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about his 4 riffs, all right? First, you got to understand what he's doing, just to open up our options. The first riff is exactly what I think John Mayer would have done in any scenario. He says it's an F, right? And then the first thing he does is puts an F minor pentatonic on top of it. Well, why? Because John Mayer is a big fan of the blues, and that's what the blues is. It's the sound of minor pentatonics and chord tones on top of a major chord. That's from my Blues Primer playlist. And so he uses the Form 1 standard pentatonic, and his riff consists of this root note to the minor third, to the 4 bent to the 5, a little bit of bend on that minor third. I'll do it again nice and slowly so you can see it. Now again, he's just using the Form 1 minor pentatonic, and he's playing very similar to that. If that's not the exact cadence, those are the notes, and it's pretty close. And so he's there. And so that's the first riff. Now, after the first riff, okay, if you look at that chart now, the first riff takes up 8 beats. Great. All right? And so we're going to look at we're going to look at the riffs first, all of his riffs first, and then kind of talk about the chart a little bit more. All right? And so now his second riff, you have to realize his second riff is probably the craziest riff of them all. He starts early, he ends late, he's combining a lot of scales here. So let's look at all the ingredients that we're looking out for here. I'm going to turn my volume down on my guitar. There's 4 ingredients that are happening in this riff. The first one is now he takes it to the major pentatonic, and he's in F major starting on 10th fret. This is where the riff starts. I have a video coming out next week that I already filmed about how to make melodies in the major pentatonic. You're going to see some moves from this in that video. I suggest you watch it. He's also going to use the F minor pentatonic. Well, the F minor was up here in Form 1, but behind it is Form 5. And so we have this 11, 13, 11, 13, 10, 13, 10, 13, especially these notes right here. Okay, right there, we're looking for it. 11, 13, 11, 13. He's also going to introduce this little hexatonic note. I talk about the hexatonic a lot on my channel. All it is adding this interval to the major pentatonic. I'm just showing you all the ingredients that's going on in his fingers, right? You have the major pentatonic. You can add the hexatonic note here if you want to, but especially here. Very important move. All right, and the last ingredient he's going to do is he's going to come back down into this form 4 F minor pentatonic. If I'm going a little too fast, just you can always rewind the video and slow it down with the gear icon. But here we have our form 4 minor, the F major, pentatonic, and hexatonic, and the F minor pentatonic form 5. Well, let's show you how he designs this riff. Now, he comes in early, and we're going to talk about that in a couple minutes. He comes in with this major second. He's in the major pentatonic first, okay? So we have the scale. He's right here. This is a very, very common move for major pentatonics. Here's the root note, here's the major second, bending it towards the major third, back to the root note, bend to the major third, and then tagging that fifth interval. All right, pretty much playing a major chord at that point. Okay? Then all of a sudden he does these crazy cool moves where he starts to transition into the minor, but not before we get to some craziness, all right? Takes the sixth interval right here. All right, back down to the 5, to the 4, bends the 4 up, releases, then now switches mentally to the minor third. That's that minor pentatonic piece. Back to the major pentatonic. Something like that, like so it's like a something like that, like then he's gonna slide into this form 4 right there. That's the fourth interval. Bends it towards the 5 or the flat 5 really. Then minor third 1. Now this isn't the exact riff in terms of it's the right notes, but in terms of John Mayer's cadence, his flow is just sick, right? So you have this kind of similar thing. Something like that in that extent, and I'll leave it at that. I only studied it for like 5 minutes, but there's the path. Now, what does that tell us? Well, man, okay, he's starting on major. He's to switch over to minor, he kind of crosses over that hexatonic piece, then switches to minor briefly, back into major for a second, back into minor. And this riff runs about 9.5 bars. He starts it early, he ends it late, and so we're gonna have to deal with that when it comes time for our improv, all right? Now, the third riff is the coolest riff, I think, out of the entire series. It's really worth diving into, and I wanna show you why. If he does something like this, notice that he's up-plucking, like, right? And that is coming from the form 2 F major pentatonic. Then all of a sudden he's going to slide, I believe it's from his first finger, all the way up to this, let's see, 15, 17, 18th fret. I'm going to explain that note in a second. All right, now this here, the form 2 connects to the form 3. Major pentatonic. And we don't need to know the whole thing, but what's really cool is knowing where that root note is. Right there, okay? So if you can see the form 3, you would understand that the root note is there on the 18th fret. All right, and so and then slides down into the form 1 major. Really, but also kind of sneaks in this 5 here, and that's the. So his mental ingredients are the form 2, a little bit of that form 3, into the form 1. And the reason I like this is because when you're soloing in the form 2, you can really kind of use that 2 as a central hub and kind of go into the 3 and down to the 1. And so you see him do it. Then he ends right here in that major second, just like I showed you. Kind of gives it a bend up to that major third. All right, so that's the third riff. And you can watch him do this, right? And this is his mindset. Really cool move. Like that is cool, all right? And then the last move, he's back to F minor. All right, he's going back and forth between major and minor, major and minor, and you know, it shows you that when he has an F chord, just an F chord, it opens up your possibilities as to what you can do. And you know, a traditional musician would, you know, stick to some sort of F major pentatonic or F major, you know, hybrid of pentatonic or even F major scale. But blues players can see that F major chord and say, well, I can slap my minors on top of there, and that's what's happening. That fourth and final riff, he's off of the F minor pentatonic. He's not in the form 1. He's up in the form 2 right here, which would be 18, 16, 18, 16, just these little notes right here. And he's got this he's putting some double stops in. You can hear this little dirty like these two notes. And so the riff, you know, without the double stops is, but you can dirty it up with this note right here. Sorry. Something like that. He's grabbing that dirtiness there. So there are the 4 riffs of John Mayer. Well, what have we learned? A couple things. How to drop your pick. Be right back. So, what did we learn from this? Well, he uses minor pentatonics, major pentatonics, hexatonics. He can move in between like these hubs really quickly. And also, we're about to learn where he comes in now and where he ends is now your responsibility to duet with. When you listen to it, or if you try to play along with it, he's coming in really early and he's going to cut you off. And he's ending early, and he's going to eat into your time. So that's where that chart really comes into play. If you look at the chart, all right, there's black hashtag marks and blue, not hashtags, tally marks, excuse me. There's black tally marks and blue tally marks. The black is John Mayer's time, okay? So you have 8 beats, pretty much per riff, or supposed to. And so his first riff takes up 8 beats, all right? So check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see he took up a perfect amount of time. Then all of a sudden, and we'll explain what the squares mean in a second. Then all of a sudden, you come in blue. And if you notice, out of these 8, 7 are blue. And then there's an up arrow, and there's another time mark. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you get 7 beats, but he comes in on the 8th note, or right in between, or after that 7th beat. Excuse me. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then he's gonna come right in. And so if I'm playing, if the first riff is John Mayer, he's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You go 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's it. That's all you got, okay? See, I even cut my 7 off right there, and I screwed up. So let me do it one more time. So you're gonna have John Mayer like this. Now you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then he's gonna come in. All right, and so you have to practice those 7 moves there, and we're gonna talk about options in a second. Let's look at the second patch of a black tally mark. John comes in early on that tally mark, and then there's a solid 8 bars of John soloing, and then look at that last box on the bottom left, all right? 2 of those tally marks are black. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 and a half bars of soloing here. And so what can you do here? Well, you can wait. You can learn how to count it out. You can also potentially come in right over him and kind of have a moment where you're kind of playing together, but you gotta be careful about that. We'll talk about it, all right? And so I'm gonna play, and then I'm gonna count out as if I was John, and then the second time you come in, if you look at those blue marks. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then top right column. Look at that, 7, because he comes in late. So you have 7 beats, one that crosses over our bar. And so check this out. I'm going to count along visually with this chart. All right, just count so you understand. Here we go. John is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. John 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, you, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. Okay, look at that. I was just counting out your job here. All right, and so when you duet with John Mayer, all right, you need to understand those tally marks, and you got to listen for it. All right, and so he'll come in on his third riff. All right, that's the shortest riff. Look at that top right box. That's riff number 3. All right, you can see that he is, again, the chart is a vertical column, so it goes this way and then this way. Hopefully it makes sense. All right, top right box is John's third riff. Only consists of 7 beats. He keeps it short. That's a... Okay, that's that one. And then right on the 8th beat he ends, you come in nice and easy on the first beat of that next bar, and you only get 6 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right? And so now, he comes in on bar 7, 8, and then all of a sudden he takes up another 8 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you end it with an 8-bar solo of your own. So this chart, you might be like, what is happening here? This chart is going to help you kind of listen to it, all right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave space right now where John is playing, and I'm just going to kind of like learn how to count these bars out so I can duet with him. So check us out. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so hard, right? But I know I've talked to some people. Kevin, how are you, Kevin? I've talked to some people. When you go to duet with this, it's like a shock for a second because he's coming in and coming out in different places. Now, you could stick to 8 beats or 1 bar, 2 bars, however you want to think about it, per solo, and let you guys overlap, and that is absolutely fine. But if you are trying to duet, and all of a sudden he's playing over you and you're going, what is going on here? This is how to do it. Now we're going to get into the final sequence of this video. I hope this is worth it. I'm probably talking to no one at this point. All right, and so the boxes on this chart, those little square boxes, if you want to get the most out of your solo, I will say this. I'm going to have different variations of this chart on my Patreon. All different ways to practice this stuff with this chart. You'll see exactly what I mean. That first box on the first column, right next to the first blue tally mark, that is going to indicate whether you're going to write on this, okay? Do you want to come in high or do you want to come in low? And then if you look at the end of your riff, at that blue tally mark, that's the end, do you want to end on high or do you want to end in low, right? Go down past John's second riff, all those black tally marks, to the last box on the bottom left. You can see that the tally mark is right before the blue, right? And that is your decision. You're going to write down, do I want to start in high, go through those 7 beats, now you're in the top right-hand corner, and where your beat ends, do I want to end low? And we'll talk about that. So those boxes are going to indicate, as a visual reminder for you to practice, where you want to start and where you want to end your riffs, and you want to listen. Am I complimenting John effectively? Am I trailing off from where he left off? Am I giving a stark difference? You can do all these different combinations, and we'll do that on Patreon. Now, so if you look at that first riff, he kind of ends like in the middle, and so the first thing I'll try is just trying up high, like with an F minor pentatonic, just coming in. And then on that 7th beat, maybe coming down low. And the reason being is that next beat starts on the F major, like in the middle. By the way, there'll be a video of me duetting with him according to this right now at the end of this video. And so he's going to have this part like then right, and ending low. I went high to low. And he's going to come in on that second riff middle. That's my doggy right there, hitting the bells. Sorry, that was us telling that she had to go potty. All right, sorry about that. And so, listening to where you want to start and end and writing the suggestions and giving yourself direction. The one thing you don't want to do is just, kind of be like, I don't know where I want to go. You want to have direction, or you don't want to be like, and then run out of time, be like, well, I ran out of time, so I'm going to end where I end. No, you want to practice knowing how much time you have, and then you want to practice also knowing where to start and where to end. That's really important. So, that's what those boxes are for. And so I used an F minor pentatonic, and, here it is again. He's going to go, all right, and so that was me, high to low. I think that would be a nice compliment. He's going to do his second solo, the one that just takes up an enormous amount of time. He cuts you off. No offense, John. It's not that you did it on purpose, but he takes a beat away from you. Okay, you stop. He plays his full 2 bars, and then he plays 2 beats after that. Then you got to come in. And so if you look at his riff, that second riff, he ends here like. If you notice, he ends off low. So the idea is, well, maybe we can start on the low note he even ends off with and then climb higher. So on that first box where you come in, low, L, right? And that last box, high. So now you have a direction. You say, okay, I'm going to go from low to high. So he's going to come down, and you can be like... where you went from low to high, and you kind of have a stark difference from what he's doing. Again, I'll do this on the duet so you can see it. Then his third riff, he kind of like ends, he does the whole like that part, then ends here on the major, and it's like, okay, so he ends in the middle part of the major, so it's like, let's just stay around the middle. Let's just stay around the middle here, in my opinion, because it's gonna be as if he just kept playing. So he's gonna go, and you're gonna go. It's very, very simple. Actually, I just pulled the move that I should never do, and I talk about it in next week's video. Let me redo that riff right there. There it is. You can discover it in next week's video. Wow, I can't believe I just did that. And so you can just, he comes up. That's a real dynamic riff. You can kind of level it off. And then he's going to come in with his little final part here. And then we got to end it. And, when you end it, you're on an F major chord. I feel like, you want to start off in the middle. This is just how I'd end it, middle. And I'm stealing right from Jimi Hendrix. Wind Cries Mary, right? And so... When you duet with him, that chart's going to help you. You now understand that he can mix major, minor pentatonics. And we'll talk about scale options in a second. You understand his timing of it, and you understand that you have to write down and print this chart out if you want to, and write down multiple options and see if if high to low works best. You want to get your best effing with John Mayer, okay? So in order to do that, you also just want to know your scale options, okay? And I think that we already talked about that. And you can always write your scale options on that chart right next to what you're doing. You can say, here I'm going to do an F minor pentatonic. Here I want to try an F major pentatonic. There's no harm in experimenting. But just in case you're like, is there an ultimate machine? Yes, there's an ultimate machine. It is the F Mixo Dorian scale, and that video will be linked right here, all right? That's a good video. The F Mixo Dorian, this is my final thought, is if you just want to play and not put a lot of thought into this, you can play totally with F Mixo Dorian, and, it looks like this. I'll play the simple one, 13, 15, 16. I'll go through the intervals. You can just watch me here. It's 1, 2, flat 3, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, 6, flat 7, 1, 2, flat 3, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Now don't fluff through this scale aimlessly. Just know that it's F major pentatonic on top of an F minor pentatonic. That's the true secret of it. So you can switch major minor all you want by just thinking like, that was F minor to F major. And so you can kind of mess around. That video is going to help a lot. But just to show you what it sounds like, you know, here's his first riff. Then that right there was just the F Mixo Dorian. All right, so I think I did my job here. You know, these are some options. But to be honest, in order to duet with something that's pre-recorded, right, you got to know exactly what's happened. If you're live, you get to look at each other and kind of signal each other when you're coming in, coming out, or if you want to overlap. But this chart here is to help you feel secure about, you know, duetting with John. And so I just want to discuss how it works. Again, if you want to practice all these different ideas with me, come join me on Patreon. I'll stop talking. Hope you enjoyed spending your time with me on this one. And that's pretty much it. Talk soon. Bye-bye.